Bienvenue, welcome one and all to another live stream with my dear friend, Vicky Poole of Tender Response, helping people, businesses to get on the lists and get onto those public sector tenders successfully. Today, we're talking about a very interesting topic, how to protect your interests in public sector contracts. Vicky Poole, take us away.
When you're working in the commercial space, no one ever kind of releases what you've purchased, because what you've purchased is unique to you and unique to your industry. So you never really get asked freedom of information. I mean, can you imagine rocking up to Tesco's and say, under freedom of information, can I have this? You're going to get no, because it's not appropriate, right? Because they're not going to tell you how anything works. In public sector, though, under freedom of information, members of the public and your competition can get key information about your business, your contracts, and how you deliver services. So as part of your tender response, you can actually list out the things that are commercially sensitive and are withdrawn from freedom of information requests. Now, it amazes me that more SMEs don't utilize this function and are unaware of it.
So hang on. Hold the phone. Are you saying you can request information about your competitors?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you know, so you have tender response is delivering services to Poole Council. I'm not delivering. It's such an unfortunate surname, really, because there is actually a Poole Council. I'm not delivering services to Poole Council. That's my name. So we'll go Wax Council. Tender response is delivering services to Wax Council. I'm not aware of there being a Wax Council in the UK.
No, I don't think so. I think we're safe.
Cool. That's grand. And can you describe the services that tender response delivers to Poole to Wax Council? Could be a question that your competitor asks. They can ask for a copy of the tender announcement that tender response was awarded the Wax Council contract for. They can drill down into that, or your actual written response. They can't see your SQQ, your standard qualification questionnaire submission, but they can see your qualitative response. So, and because tenders are a beauty competition, they can then work out what your overall awarding price was.
Hang on, so I thought it stopped being a beauty competition now that it was. It's not meat; it's mat
So meat has gone to mat. My obsession with sausages has ended, and my obsession with rugs is only just beginning. Yes, that is true. There always has to be a commercial element, and because it's public money that's being spent on any contract, regardless of whether it's paper clips, printing, postage, couriers, office furniture, software, whatever it is, there has to be an actual physical amount released as a notice to say what has been purchased. So if tender response has submitted a tender for 5 apples and 3 pears at a cost of £28, the tender spec will say 5 apples and 3 pears. The pricing, the contract call off, will be £28, and that is publicly accessible information. Now, right. What a lot of people don't know is that you can withdraw certain elements of it. So you can redact it to say that the overall contract value can be presented because that's a legal requirement, but the line items can be withdrawn.
Right. Okay. So hang on. I'm just thinking, so let's say I was going for a tender and I knew that the incumbent was up for the same tender.
Yep.
I could do a freedom of information to find out exactly what they got for the money they got last time, and could I find out?
Well, so I can see where you're going with this, Gareth, and yes, you can. So freedom of information requests generally take, depending on the council, somewhere between 14 and 90 days to respond. The average, what is government suggestion, is 30 days to respond. So bearing in mind that you also get 28 days on average to respond to a tender, you need to know this information before the tender is released.
Right.
So if anyone who's listening to this and thinking, oh, I really want to target XYZ, now is the time to start issuing out those freedom of information requests now before the tender is released. So you can't issue out freedom of information for 35 questions. Right. Because there is a limit to what councils can respond to. So they're not going to be responding to 35 questions. If you ask them one or two, you're going to get a response. It's questions like, can you confirm the overall spend for social media marketing in the last 12, 24, and 36 months, or the last 1, 2, and 3 years? And you'll be given those values. You can say, how much have you spent with many purple hats in social media marketing content in the last 3 years? This could be your second question. And there could be $4,000, nothing and nothing, or nothing, nothing and $4,000, or any value that is true and spent. Now, they may, depending on how you phrase the question, you may get different values. So for example, how much money have you spent with many purple hats could be different to how much money have you spent with many purple hats on social media marketing, because there may be additional services that many purple hats will have delivered, such as, if you guys aren't aware of Gareth's Engage Plus offering, where he goes off and does lead gen for you, it's top rate, and that is another service. It's not social media marketing. So if you're looking at a company as a whole, you could see that they maybe have spent 30, 40, 50,000 pounds, but at one particular thing, that one thing that this tender's for, they could have spent nothing. So you have to be really particular with your freedom of information requests.
Wow. So what you're saying is a little bit of preparation well in advance of putting in the tender will forearm you with information on how to make your tender application the most conducive.
Yeah, so we've been doing quite a lot of this at the moment with some of our clients.
It does feel a bit like cheating, though.
Cheating, playing within the rules of the game.
All right. All right.
So for those of you who don't know, my name's Vicky Poole. I've spent the better part of 20 years working in corporates in a new business, new logo field. So being able to find out information on my competitors was what I was taught to do. And working in public sector is very easy because you can actually go out and find all that relevant information. And it's one of the reasons why I did so well in sales in the public sector space. Now, tender response, we help SMEs to find, qualify, and respond to public sector bids. That's what we do. And over the last quarter, I no word of a lie, I have spent more time doing sales preparation activities with clients than anything else. So we are now helping people to empower them to do their own sales prep. And we are also bringing out, in the coming months, we are bringing out market intelligence, where you can do your own reports. Well, we'll do the reports for you because the software is quite expensive, but we can tell you, we can drill down on councils, we can drill down on your competitors, we can tell you where they're strong, where they're not, so that we can give you some sort of insight about whether or not they're going to be playing in a particular field based off of their previous submissions, their previous wins, and so on and so forth. So, and this all boils down, so the information that we get to see boils down to what information is in the tender response and what the suppliers say that they are happy to be included and what needs to be redacted. So if you are a company in the technology space or you have your own IP, it is critically important that you say there that anything listed to this product, this service, ideally the technical aspects relating to questions 1 to like 1B, 3C, and so on, have to be removed because this is our IP and it would be an unfair advantage to our competitors. You have to specify in there why it has to be removed.
Well, there's so much you can do there to both make it harder for your competitors and also there's so much you can do to pre-warn yourself, pre-arm yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So as part of our market intelligence, we're going to be able to tell you what contracts are coming up in the next 12 months so that you can do some pre-market. Well, we may even be able to do this for you, do some pre-market assessments to see whether or not that contract is coming out for renewal or whether or not they're going to extend on a +1 basis. And if they're extending on a +1 basis, guess what? It means that you get to market to that council. So you get to send them information, you get to rock up at their events, you get to canvass them, do all that wonderful stuff that you can't do when you're in tender.
Wow. So yeah, you really have to make hay while the sun shines, because once you're in tender, of course, that's an entirely different ball game, is it not?
Absolutely. So the second that a tender drops, you can't contact that client. Even to the extent, and you have to be very careful with this, even to the extent that they're picking up the phone to your contact during, even if you have the contract, during an in-life service management, if you ask them the wrong question, you can put yourself in hot water. Even things like, I know I shouldn't ask you about this.
You can be on their website. You can be right. Right, and I guess that would be a very important thing to do anyway. You want to make sure you understand what their offering is publicly, at least. Okay. Well, I didn't realize there's so much you could do in advance. But
yeah. So Gareth, we've been doing these live streams now for over a year. Has there ever been a live stream that we've done where you've come away thinking, I knew that?
No, usually it's why haven't I thought of that before? Because often I hate to say this, and I don't mean this to be in any way disrespectful, but a lot of the stuff you say is more common sense than anything else, and it's actually hidden in plain sight. So if I'd only spent 5 minutes thinking about it, I might have come up with it. But I very rarely do spend those 5 minutes thinking about it. I would say, guys, you should understand that she's put together a lot of useful bits and pieces in her internationally renowned resources pack. Here it is. There's a link to it right there. There's information on there which will help you ask questions of yourself. Go on, Vicky. What else is on there?
So the topic that we're speaking about today is freedom of information, acknowledging where you can protect your business by filling out the forms correctly and withholding that information or redacting that information from public views. That is not present in my resources tabs, in my resources downloads. Well, then, it's not even listed in my 10 tips for tendering, because it is so fundamental that I just thought everyone was aware of it, and apparently not. So Here we go.
Well, look, I tell you what, if you are mystified and perplexed by the amount of stuff, chicanery you can do, did I say chicanery? I meant decent preparation that you can do in advance to submitting a tender, why don't you have a call or a message to Vicky and her team on this number, 07896 909 776, and they'll be only too pleased to walk you through some of the fundamentals. I know Vicky is very generous with her time, and she'll find, if she can, space to give you some basic elements you need to be looking out for. It may be that tendering isn't the right solution for you at this time, or it may be you should run like a bull at a china shop, because there are at least 2 or 3 tenders that she knows will absolutely fall into your wheelhouse. Whatever it is, it's worth having that initial conversation. I'm going to bring the number up once again there. There it is, 07896 909 776, like a radio show, this. And I would say at least ask the question. Remember, tendering can be a secure way of ensuring bread and butter income for your business going ahead, in some cases, a number of years. And the only one, you can't win it if you ain't in it. and it, it is very easy to fall headlong into a crevasse if you don't necessarily know how to read the double talk that's often within those tenders. Yeah, we have been live streaming an awful long time, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I get a lot from it purely because I keep thinking I understand an area, and then you point out quite obviously that I'm missing some fundamental information. Guys, if that's you, if I'm preaching to the converted, get in contact with Vicky. Remember, you can find it on LinkedIn, Vicky Poole, tender response. I would say you could send her a message on that. She'll be only too keen to work with you moving forward. Vicky, thank you very much for spending time today with me. And as usual, thank you all for listening. And I wish you a wonderful rest of the week, hump day that it is. And of course, a fabulous mental health. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.